A private airfield, midday sun burning down. A luxury helicopter sat silent, rotor blades frozen in place. The young CEO stood there, arms crossed, white satin jumpsuit gleaming, eyes sharp with mockery. Her engineers shuffled nervously. Nobody could start the engine. A man in faded maintenance coveralls walked forward, rusty wrench in hand, grease-stained boots. She laughed. "Fix this helicopter and I'll kiss you right now." He looked up, calm, steady. "Better make it count, ma'am." 2 minutes later, the rotors roared to life. Engine thunder filled the air. She stood frozen. Her smile died. His name was Ethan Ward, 37 years old, single dad, former aviation engineer. Now he works short-term maintenance contracts for Helix Aero Corporation. His daughter Emma was 8. She carried a tiny helicopter model everywhere. She once told him, "Daddy fixes everything except his own heart." Ethan used to be chief engineer in the Air Force. He left after an accident. His teammate died. Ethan blamed himself. He disappeared into quiet work. Nobody knew his name anymore. The CEO was Aurora Vallon, 29 years old, billionaire heiress. She inherited Helix Aero from her father, famous for being ruthless, demanding perfection, accepting nothing less. Today was the big day, the first test flight of their new commercial helicopter. Media crews everywhere, international investors watching, cameras rolling. Then the engine refused to start. Her entire technical team panicked. Aurora's face turned red with fury. "You had one job." The operations manager made a frantic call. He brought Ethan in. "He's from the backup contractor team." Aurora looked him up and down, slow, judgmental. "This is your backup? He looks like he came from a farm, not a hangar." Ethan said nothing at first. Then quietly, "Machine doesn't care who fixes it." The media crews leaned in, cameras focused. Aurora saw her moment. She wanted to humiliate him, make an example, show everyone she was in control. She raised her voice, made sure everyone heard. "Fine, fix this helicopter and I'll kiss you right now." The technical team laughed. Some engineers whistled. The investors smirked. Ethan looked at her. His face didn't change. His voice stayed calm. "You might want to get ready then." More laughter, but Aurora's smile tightened. Something in his eyes bothered her. Confidence, not arrogance, just certainty. He walked to the helicopter, opened his toolbox, pulled out a worn wrench. The handle was scratched. Faded military markings barely visible. He climbed into the cabin, started checking circuits. His hands moved fast, precise, like muscle memory. Aurora stood outside, arms still crossed. She turned to the live camera. "Our hero mechanic is trying his luck. Let's see if farmhands can fix aircraft." The investors chuckled. Her PR team filmed everything. Inside the cockpit, Ethan traced the wiring. He found the problem immediately. The fuel injection system was configured wrong. Military-grade specs on a civilian engine. Classic mistake. Someone outside shouted, "Don't break it more, old man." Ethan ignored them. He pulled 3 wires, reconnected them in different sequence, adjusted the fuel mixture valve manually, reset the ignition timing. Then he pressed the starter. Nothing. The crowd outside groaned. Aurora smiled wider. "Told you." Ethan pressed again. This time he held it longer. Counted in his head. 3, 4, 5 seconds. The engine coughed, then roared. The rotor spun, faster, faster. Wind blasted across the airfield. Everyone froze. Aurora's smile vanished. Her mouth opened slightly. No words came out. Ethan climbed down, wiped his hands on a rag, walked past the crowd without looking at anyone. One engineer whispered to another, "How did he do that in 2 minutes?" Ethan stopped near Aurora. He didn't smile, didn't gloat. "Your fuel mix ratio was military spec, not civilian. Wrong manual." Her face went pale. "Lucky guess." He shook his head slowly. "No, ma'am. Trained habit." He walked away. The helicopter engine roared behind him. The sound echoed across the entire airfield. Aurora stood there, speechless. Her team stared at her, cameras still rolling. She felt something she hadn't felt in years. Embarrassment. Subscribe if you believe calm confidence always wins. The media wanted interviews. Aurora waved them off. Her face was tight, forced smile. Technical difficulties resolved. We'll proceed with the test flight. But inside, she was shaken. Nobody fixed engines that fast, not without knowing the exact specs, the exact history. Her assistant whispered, "Should we thank him publicly?" Aurora's jaw clenched. "No, don't make him a hero. He got lucky." But she knew it wasn't luck. She saw how his hands moved. Professional, trained, military precision. Later that afternoon, she called a meeting. Department heads only. Conference room. Doors closed. "Who is Ethan Ward? I want his full background." Her head of HR pulled up the file. Thin, almost empty. Contract worker, hired 3 months ago, short-term maintenance, basic clearance only. Aurora leaned forward. Education, previous employers. The HR director scrolled down. Says here he has aviation experience, but the section for former unit is redacted. Classified. Aurora's eyes narrowed. Classified? For a maintenance worker? She grabbed her phone, made calls, pulled strings. Her family had military connections. Deep ones. By evening, she had a name, just a name. Viper Unit. She searched it. Nothing public. Only rumors, whispers, elite tactical engineering division. The people who built classified aircraft systems, prototypes, experimental tech. Her blood went cold. He's not just a mechanic. The next morning, Aurora went to the hangar personally. She needed to see him again. Needed to understand. Ethan was in the corner, working on a small engine. His daughter sat nearby, drawing helicopters on scrap paper. Aurora approached slowly, heels clicking on concrete. "Mr. Ward." He looked up, no surprise on his face, like he expected her. "Ma'am, I need to ask you something." He set down his wrench, waited. "That engine yesterday, you fixed it in 2 minutes. How?" "Experience." "What kind of experience?" He glanced at Emma, then back at Aurora. "The kind you don't put on resumes." Aurora's frustration grew. "I run this company. I deserve to know who works in my hangars." Ethan stood up, wiped his hands. "You run the company. I just fix what's broken. That's all you need to know." She wanted to argue, to demand, but something stopped her. The way he looked at her, not defiant, not rude, just boundary. Emma tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, can we go home?" "I'm hungry." His face softened immediately. "Yeah, sweetheart, let's go." He picked up his toolbox, started to leave. Aurora called out, "Wait!" He stopped. She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "I found the name. Viper Unit. That's where you worked, isn't it?" His back stiffened, just slightly. Emma didn't notice. "Doesn't matter now." "It does matter. You built military-grade systems, and now you're fixing rental helicopters?" He turned around. His eyes were different now, colder. "I built things that killed people. Now I fix things that save them." That's the difference, Rotor. Aurora felt the weight of those words. Heavy, final. Why hide? Because heroes don't build by the hour. He walked away. Emma waved goodbye, innocent, unaware. Aurora stood alone in the hangar. The helicopter she mocked him for fixing hummed quietly in the background. She felt something unfamiliar. Guilt. That night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about his hands, the wrench, the way he moved. She pulled up the company's current helicopter design, the V9 commercial model, their flagship product. She compared it to military schematics, her contact center. Classified documents, heavily redacted, the stabilizer system, the fuel injection design, the rotor balance algorithm, all of it. Every single innovation her company bragged about. Someone had designed it years ago. For the military. She found a name buried in the files. Lead engineer, Project V9 Tactical, Ethan Ward. Her hands shook. He built the thing I mocked him for fixing. She leaned back in her chair, stared at the ceiling, her entire fortune, her company's reputation. The technology they sold worldwide, all based on his work. Work he never got credit for, work he walked away from. She grabbed her coat, drove to his address, small apartment complex, modest, quiet. She knocked on his door, 10 p.m. Too late. She didn't care. He opened it, surprise. Ms. Vallon? I know who you are. His face didn't change. Then you know why I don't talk about it. You designed the V9, the entire system. My company profits from your work. Your company bought the patents legally. That's how it works. But you get nothing? He shrugged. I get to sleep at night. That's worth more. Emma appeared behind him, sleepy, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, who is it? He turned, picked her up gently. Just someone from work, baby. Go back to bed. Aurora watched them, father and daughter, simple life, no luxury, no recognition. She felt ashamed. I'm sorry. He looked at her, really looked at her. For what? For mocking you, for treating you like you were nobody. I am nobody. That's the point. No, you're the ghost engineer, the one they still talk about, the legend. He set Emma down, sent her to her room, then stepped outside, closed the door. Legends are for people who want attention. I just want my daughter safe. Aurora's voice cracked. I owe you more than a kiss. I owe you credit. Just make sure people fly safer than before. That's all I ever wanted. He went back inside. Door closed softly. Aurora stood in the hallway, tears in her eyes. For the first time in years, she felt small. Type honor if you believe real expertise speaks for itself. Aurora didn't sleep that night. She sat in her penthouse office, city lights below, documents spread everywhere, every patent, every design, every innovation her company claimed, all traced back to one name, Ethan Ward. The next morning, she called an emergency board meeting. Her executives arrived confused. We need to make a public statement. Her CFO frowned. About what? The test flight was successful. Aurora shook her head. About who really designed our technology. The room went silent. Her head of legal spoke carefully. Ms. Vallon, we own those patents legally. There's no obligation. I don't care about obligation. I care about what's right. Her COO leaned forward. This could damage our brand. Investors expect innovation from us. Aurora stood up. We're going to fix this. Today. That afternoon, she went to Ethan's workshop. Small garage, edge of the airfield. Emma sat coloring. Ethan was under a plane, checking hydraulics. Aurora knocked. He rolled out, saw her, sighed. Ms. Vallon, I need to talk to you. He glanced at Emma. Everything I do is in front of my daughter. Aurora nodded. Fair enough. She pulled out a folder. The V9 stabilizer, the fuel optimization algorithm, the rotor balance design, all yours. I know. You signed them over for almost nothing. He stood up, wiped his hands. I signed them over so they could save lives. Military wanted weapons. I wanted rescue systems. You could have fished for credit. Credit doesn't raise a daughter. Peace of mind does. Aurora looked at Emma, drawing a helicopter with a heart. What happened to you? Ethan was quiet. I built something perfect, state of the art. My team tested it. My best friend piloted it. His voice cracked. System failed mid-flight. He didn't make it. It wasn't your fault. I designed it. I approved it. That makes it mine. He sat down heavily. After that, I couldn't build for war anymore, so I disappeared. Aurora felt tears forming. And now you fix helicopters in silence. Better than building them in pride. She set the folder down. I want to give you credit. Public credit. Your name on every design. He shook his head. No. Why not? Because then Emma's name gets out. People dig, reporters ask questions. She gets dragged into my past. Aurora understood. Protection, love. What if we honor you without exposing her? A fund for families of military engineers, in your unit's name, and we hire you as Chief Technical Advisor. I don't need a title. But Emma needs stability, college fund, health care, security. That made him pause. You're using my daughter to manipulate me. I'm using your love for her to help you accept what you deserve. Ethan looked at Emma, humming, happy. He turned back. No press conference with my face, just the fund. And the advisory position? He hesitated. I work from here. My garage. My terms. Aurora smiled. Deal. They shook hands. His grip was strong, calloused. 2 weeks later, Aurora held a major press conference. International media, investors, industry leaders. She stood at the podium. Different now. Humbler. Today I'm announcing the Ward Stabilizer Initiative, named after the Viper unit engineering team that designed the core technology Helix Aero uses. Cameras flashed. For years, we've profited from innovations created by people who served in silence. She paused. I recently learned that one of those engineers works in our maintenance department. I mocked him publicly, questioned his abilities. Murmurs spread. He fixed our flagship helicopter in 2 minutes because he designed the original system. Gasps, cameras zooming. I stand here today corrected and humbled. She pulled up a slide, the Ward Stabilizer logo. 40% of all V9 profits will fund this initiative, supporting families of military engineers, education, healthcare, housing. The room erupted in applause. One reporter stood. Will we meet this engineer? Aurora shook her head gently. He chooses privacy. I respect that. His work speaks louder than any interview. After the conference, she drove to his garage. He was welding, sparks flying. She waited. He lifted his mask. Saw the news. And? You did good, she smiled. Emma's college fund is set. Healthcare covered. Garage lease paid for 5 years. He nodded slowly. Thank you. There's one more thing. She pulled out a small box. Inside was his old wrench. The Viper unit markings, now with an engraving. The man who fixed the impossible. Ethan stared at it, eyes glistening. You kept it? I had it restored. It belongs in our lobby, but I wanted you to see it first. He picked it up carefully. This wrench saved my friend once, before the accident. Emergency landing. I fixed the hydraulics with this. Aurora was quiet. Maybe it's time it saved something else. He looked at her. Like what? Pride, ego, arrogance. He studied her face. You're different now. You changed me in 2 minutes with a wrench. He smiled slightly. All I did was fix an engine. No, you fixed my perspective. Emma ran in, excited. Daddy, the lady on TV was talking about you. He knelt down. Not about me, sweetheart. About people who build things to help others. Like you. Like a lot of people. Aurora watched them. Father and daughter. Simple joy. She felt something new. Purpose beyond profit. Ethan stood. Walked her to the door. Ms. Valen? She turned. You didn't owe me credit, but thank you. I owed you respect. That's bigger than credit. She walked to her car, stopped, turned back. One more thing. That kiss you joked about? He raised an eyebrow. I'm not collecting. She smiled. Good, because I'd rather earn your respect than owe you a dare. He nodded once, respect given. She drove away. In the rearview mirror, she saw him standing there, Emma on his hip, watching her leave. For the first time in years, Aurora felt she'd done something that mattered. Inside the garage, Ethan held the wrench, looked at the engraving. Emma tugged his shirt. Is she your friend now? He thought about it. Maybe, yeah, maybe she is. Good, she seems lonely. He looked down at his daughter, 8 years old, wiser than most adults. How do you know that? Because she smiles with her mouth, not her eyes, like you used to. He hugged her tight. You're too smart for your own good. I know, Daddy. He set the wrench on his workbench. Right next to Emma's drawings, the impossible. Fixed, not just machines. 3 months passed. The Ward Stabilizer Initiative launched successfully. Applications flooded in. Families receiving support. Lives changing. Ethan became chief technical advisor. He worked from his garage, just like he wanted. No suits, no boardrooms, just blueprints and wrenches. Aurora visited often, sometimes for work, sometimes just to talk. Emma grew comfortable around her, called her Miss Aurora, drew pictures of helicopters with both their names. One afternoon, Aurora arrived with the coffee, 2 cups. Thought you might need this. Ethan looked up from a schematic, smiled. You're learning. Learning what? How to be human. She laughed, sat down on an old crate. Is that what I'm doing? You tell me. 3 months ago, you wouldn't have brought coffee to anyone. She sipped hers, looked around the garage. You know you never did collect that kiss. He didn't look up from his work. Still not interested, ma'am. Good, I'd rather earn it. That made him pause. He set down his pencil. Earn what exactly? Your respect, your trust, maybe your friendship. He studied her face. Genuine, vulnerable. You already have 2 of those. Which 2? Respect and trust. Friendship takes time. She nodded, accepted that. They worked together on the civilian rescue version of the V9. Ethan designed, Aurora coordinated production. He taught her things, real engineering, not just business theory. She showed him spreadsheets, profit margins, how the fund was growing. They became partners, equals. One evening, Emma brought them sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly. You both work too much. Aurora smiled. She's right, you know. Ethan checked his watch, 9 p.m. When did it get so late? Aurora stood up, stretched. Want to see something? She led him outside. The new rescue helicopter sat on the tarmac, freshly painted, V9 Helix Rescue emblazoned on the side. First test flight is tomorrow. I want you to be there. I'll be working. Ethan, you designed this. You should see it fly. He looked at the helicopter, then at her. Will there be cameras? Just a few, for documentation, but you can stay in the background. He nodded slowly. All right, I'll come. The next morning, the test flight began. Small crowd, mostly technical staff, a few reporters. Aurora stood at the front, microphone in hand. This helicopter represents something bigger than technology. It represents redemption, second chances, the courage to admit when we're wrong. She looked directly at Ethan. He stood in the back, Emma beside him. Sometimes arrogance blinds us to quiet brilliance. Sometimes humility repairs more than machines. The helicopter lifted off, smooth, perfect, beautiful. Emma grabbed her dad's hand. That's yours, Daddy. He squeezed back. That's ours, baby, for people who need help. Aurora walked over after the flight, emotional. It's perfect. It's functional. That's better than perfect. She pulled out a small box, not the wrench this time, something else. Inside was a model helicopter, V9 Helix Rescue. Tiny, detailed, hand-painted. On the base, an inscription. For the girl whose dad rebuilt the sky. Love, Miss Aurora. Emma's eyes went wide. For me? For you, because your dad is a hero, and heroes deserve to be celebrated. Emma hugged her tight. Unexpected. Pure. Aurora looked at Ethan over Emma's shoulder. Tears in her eyes. He mouthed 2 words. Thank you. She mouthed back. Thank you. The helicopter flew overhead. Rotors humming, sun glinting off metal. A machine built not for war, but for saving lives. 1 year later, the V9 Helix Rescue was operational worldwide. Hundreds of missions completed. Thousands of lives saved. The inaugural rescue ceremony took place at the main airfield. Government officials attended, military representatives, international media coverage. The crowd was massive. Aurora stood at the podium, confident but humble, changed from who she was. A year ago, I learned the hardest lesson of my life. That brilliance doesn't announce itself. That expertise doesn't demand recognition. That real heroes work in silence. The crowd listened, cameras focused. I once mocked a man who built what kept people safe in the sky. I questioned his abilities, laughed at his appearance. treated him as inferior. She paused, let the words sink in. Today I stand corrected, forever grateful, permanently humbled. She gestured to the rescue helicopter behind her, gleaming in the sunlight. This aircraft has saved 347 lives in its first year. Storm rescues, medical evacuations, disaster relief, mountain recoveries, ocean emergencies. Applause filled the air, loud, sustained. None of this would exist without one person's vision, one person's sacrifice, one person's quiet determination to build for life, not war. She looked into the crowd, found Ethan, Emma sitting on his shoulders, both wearing matching helicopter pins. "Mr. Ward, would you please come forward?" He shook his head, stayed put, smiled softly. She smiled back, expected that response. "Then I'll come to you." She walked down from the stage, approached him directly, held out a plaque, engraved, beautiful. "The man who fixed the impossible." He took it carefully, read it, looked at Emma. "Keep this safe, sweetheart." Aurora knelt down to Emma's level, eye to eye. "Your dad is the bravest person I know. Not because he built amazing things, but because he walked away when it mattered and came back when people needed him most." Emma hugged the plaque tight. "I already knew that. He's my hero." Everyone laughed. Warm, genuine, heartfelt. Aurora stood, faced Ethan one final time. "You changed my life completely. Thank you." He smiled, rare, real, peaceful. "You changed yours. I just fixed a helicopter." "No, you fixed much more than that. You fixed my perspective, my values, my heart." The ceremony ended. People dispersed slowly. Aurora walked Ethan and Emma to their car. Small talk, easy conversation. "You ever gonna collect that kiss?" He laughed out loud. "Nope. Why not?" "Because what we have now is worth more." "What do we have?" "Respect, trust, real friendship." She smiled warmly. "All three?" "All three." Emma called from the car window. "Daddy, can Miss Aurora come to dinner tonight?" He looked at Aurora, raised an eyebrow. "You eat pizza and watch cartoons? I can learn both." "Then yeah, come to dinner." They drove away together, three people, different backgrounds, same values, same purpose. Above them, a V9 Helix rescue flew past, heading to its next mission, rotors cutting through golden sunset light. Ethan looked up at the sky, whispered something quiet, personal. Emma heard it. "What did you say, Daddy?" "I said thank you to someone who's not here anymore." "Your friend from before?" "Yeah, my best friend." "Do you think he's proud of you now?" Ethan smiled, tears in his eyes. "Yeah, baby, I think he finally is." The helicopter disappeared into the horizon. The sun set behind the airfield, golden light everywhere. Perfect moment, perfect peace. Machines break, pride fails, but humility, that keeps us flying. Subscribe if you believe humility can rebuild anything, even hearts.